Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatuh. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Ve salatu ve selamu ala Resulina ve Habibina ve tabibi kulubina ve şefii zunubina ve kurratu a'yunina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve ashabihi ve etba'ihi ve ihvanihi minel enbiya'i vel murseline ecma'in. Radiyallahu anna ve ankum ve an kâfetil mu'minin. Rabbena la tuzigh kulubana ba'de idh hedeytena ve heb lena min ledunke rahmeh inneke entel vehhab. Allahümme erinel hakka hakkan farzukna ittiba'ah ve erinel batila batilan farzukna ictinabeh. Allahümme ansur men nasaraddin fec'alna minhum واخذل من خذل الدين ولا تجعلنا منهم ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. The last dua that I have recited is the dua of Ashabul Kahf. They are young people. Fityatun amanu bi rabbihim wa zidnahum huda. So Allah Ta'ala mentions that they are good young people. They are our role models. They are fitya, which is the plural of feta. Feta means a mature person, a young person who is committed to excellence in morality. That's feta. And the plural is fityan. Or fitya. So this considered a maqam in spirituality, in morality. This is the maqam of Anbiyaullah, maqam of Ashab, maqam of Awliyaullah. And this spiritual maqam is reflected in their relations with the creation of Allah, with human beings, with animals, and with nature. Let me start with a story which is mentioned by many scholars, and recently I was teaching from Ma'arij al-Salikin, the part about Futuwwa for Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyya. He mentions that there was a fata, a person who's committed to Futuwwa, and he had some guests, and he had a servant. He told the servant, prepare the food for the guest, and the food came late, and he was impatient. He asked the servant, why are you late? He said, we had some ants on the tray of the food. They are our guests too. I waited until they are full and leave. And then the author, the muhakkik who prepared this book, Ma'arij al-Salikin, for publication, he wrote, أَلَيْسَ هَذَا حُمْقَى? Isn't this stupidity? Look at the level of the author and look at the level of the muhakkik. So this muhakkik, he's a, I don't want to call name, you know. He's, let's say, a disconnected person, you know, from the Islamic tradition and this high morality. So Futuwwa is for the creation of Allah, serving the creation of Allah Ta'ala, including human beings, animals, and even plants, with the intention of ibadah, out of love for the Creator. That's Futuwwa. You know, serving the whole creation, regardless of who they are. And Sayyidina Ibrahim is another example of Futuwwa. He is also mentioned in the Quran as fata. So one day, and a guest comes to his home. And you know, Sayyidina Ibrahim has never eaten food alone. Waited for a guest to come so that they can eat together. He didn't eat alone. And actually, even the Sahaba in the beginning of Islam, they did not want to eat alone. Then Allah Ta'ala sent a verse in the Quran, gave permission that you can eat alone without waiting for the guest to come. You know, so he made this habit for himself. And this guest came, and before they start eating, he said, let's say Bismillah. And the man said, I don't believe in Allah. I am Zoroastrian, Majus. And Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam was so upset. Like, you are old man, you don't believe in Allah, so you are not entitled to eat the food Allah created. He was so upset. He said, either you become Muslim, you know, or you don't eat from my food. And the man said, I'm not going to change my religion simply to have a lunch or dinner with you. He left. And Allah Ta'ala sent wahi to Sayyidina Ibrahim and said, Ya Ibrahim, I am feeding this man for so many decades. Although he's kafir, he denies my existence, and he goes against my will. What happened to you? You don't even give him one meal? Like, I have been giving him like food for his whole life. You deprive him from one meal? And Sayyidina Ibrahim became so sorry. He ran after this man. And the man was so surprised. The host, which kicked him out of his home, now running after him. He said, please, please come to my home. Eat. Let's eat together. He said, what happened? What made you change your mind? He said, my Lord got angry at me because of you. Because I didn't give you food. He said, really? He said, yes. And he said, then your Lord must be a very good one. I believe in him. And he converted to Islam. See? So, Futuwwa means making no distinction among the creation of Allah Ta'ala. They say, if you make a distinction between the most strange person and your closest friend in your favors, you are not Ahlul Futuwwa. You make no distinction. The strangest and the closest, you treat them the same with the intention of ibadah and out of love for the Creator. They are all creators of Allah Ta'ala. Creation of Allah Ta'ala. They are all created by Allah Ta'ala. So you show respect, you show love, you show care. Why? They are created by Allah Ta'ala. This is part of al-adab billah. التعظيم بخلق الله جزء من الأدب بالله. التعظيم بخلق الله. Even the smallest animal, smallest plant, you know, you see, you venerate. Why? Because this is created by Allah Ta'ala. التعظيم بخلق الله. الأدب بخلق الله. الخدمة لخلق الله. جزء من العبادة لله تعالى. So, and when we show this respect, this care to khalqillah, our intention is to please Allah Ta'ala, is to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, and also to act in a way which is proper for us. We are Khalifatullah. We are Ashraful Makhluqeen. We are created ala ahsan taqweem. How can we degrade ourselves by behaving in a cruel way? Cruelty is degradation of your own self. Cruelty is zulm to yourself. You are degrading yourself. This is zulm to yourself. Injustice to yourself. If you do justice to yourself, You act as someone who is very honorable. You are the king of the creation. Everything is created musakhar lak. Allah created this whole creation for you. And He created you for Himself. So act accordingly. Know who you are. Know your place in the creation. And act like the Khalifa of Allah Ta'ala. So, and show love and care to all creation of Allah Ta'ala without any distinction, with the intention of ibadah and out of love. That's al-Islam. That's deen. That's al-makarim al-akhlaq. Akhlaq is something relational. Relational. It's between two people or two beings. So it's relational. And akhlaq has levels. So one level of akhlaq is sharia, which is based on reciprocity. Qisas. If someone does something to you, you reciprocate. If it's something wrong, you retaliate. That's qisas. This is akhlaq. No one can say this is wrong. Okay? But there is something above, higher, which is al-afu. Al-afu khair. But this is voluntary. This is optional. You know, you cannot impose, you cannot require people to practice afu. Only those who care about the reward in the akhirah, they practice afu. Because your gain when you forgive is bigger than your gain when you reciprocate. Which one is bigger? When you make afu, Allah gives you a reward. You know, when you reciprocate, you just feel happy in your nafs. Which one is better? You know, the reward you get from Allah, even the smallest reward, will be bigger than the reward if the whole humanity get together and give you a reward. Because if it is not proper for Allah, yani the king of this universe, to give you something small, like a rich man cannot give small bakshish, should be suitable, right? So Allah is the richest, al-ghani. Even the smallest bakshish He will give you will be bigger than the bakshish the whole humanity and all the jinn, if they get together and give you a reward. So if you are intelligent, you practice afu, hoping to get its reward in paradise. And there is something higher, which is idfa billati hiya ahsan. You know, do al-ahsan, not hasan, but al-ahsan. So when you are mistreated, when you are done something wrong, injustice, you know, return back with al-ahsan, the best possible way. What's the best possible way? Do it. That's al-ihsan. So there is sharia level based on reciprocity, there is tariqa level based on afu, and there is haqiqa level based on complete altruism and doing the best in response to mistreatment to you. That's al-ihsan. Idfa billati hiya ahsan. This is the akhlaq of anbiya. This is the akhlaq of awliya. If someone asks you, please summarize me the sunnah of Rasulullah, and if you say, al-amal bima huwa al-awla wal-afdal wal-ahsan, this is the summary of sunnah of Rasulullah. This is the summary of akhlaq of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Al-amal bima huwa al-awla wal-afdal wal-ahsan. No one can say Rasulullah behaved this way, but it could have been better if he behaved otherwise. No. Always he did the best thing. Always ihsan. always idfa' billati ahsan. So that's the akhlaq of Anbiya. And also Futuwwa is the akhlaq of people of paradise. Because Al-Anbiya, Al-Awliya, when they go to paradise, they're not going to change their akhlaq. They will continue behaving the same way. And this akhlaq came from paradise to us. Sayyidina Adam, first fatah. Sayyidatina Hawa, first fatat. Role models. In the books of Futuwwa, there are many books. In Arabic, in Persian, in Turkish, I am sure in Urdu and Malayalam, Tamil and other languages also. But one needs to do research. I did research Arabic Futuwwa literature, Persian Futuwwa literature, and Turkish Futuwwa literature, and we published them as a series to show rootedness of the Futuwwa. And people became surprised. Wow, we had this. How come we forgot? Who erased our memory? In computer, they delete memory, right? They don't delete only memory of the computers, but they delete your memory too. They try to delete memory of the ummah. And when you lose your memory, what happens to you? There are people who are Alzheimer. They lose their memory. Can they think? No. Without memory, you cannot think. And losing memory called amnesia. So today, Ummah has amnesia. We forgot our heritage. We forgot our legacy. So Alhamdulillah, this year's event focused on heritage. But what's heritage? What's tradition? Tradition is not to keep the ashes. Tradition is to keep fire. That's the meaning of tradition. So now we want to revive the Futuwwa as part of our heritage, as part of our tradition. And Alhamdulillah, this year's event was focused on this. And I thank Dr. Sheikh Abdul Hakim to make me part of this event and expose me to all the good things that you are doing here. Alhamdulillah, this is really a blessed community. You are already people of Futuwwa. You are already people of Futuwwa, but the danger is you don't know what you are doing. You don't know that it's rooted in our tradition. You don't know that it's coming from there. Same thing with the Turkish community, Arab community. The old generation, they practice Futuwwa, but new generation, they are put under postmodern ethics based on individualism, based on self-centric view, based on putting yourself first, but this is not our akhlaq. So I see that our new generation under threat. They are slowly deleting their memory, and the intergenerational gap. So through their education, they are, slowly deleting this Futuwwa ethics and culture from them. But all generations continue it. So we need to intervene, make sure something to create awareness that this is our heritage in akhlaq, we will preserve it, and this is much better, much superior than the alternative they are trying to market to us. What they are marketing to us is McDonald's. We have kebab. Why should we have McDonald's? They are trying to market us Nescafe. We have Turkish coffee. Why should we have Nescafe, right? So we have the real akhlaq inherited from all messengers of Allah. As I said, it came from paradise. Sayyidina Adam and Sayyidina Hawa, they had this ethics. And in the Futuwwa books, they say first fatah is Sayyidina Adam. Be like him. When you make a mistake, apologize for your mistake. First fatat, lady, Sayyidina Hawa. Sayyidina Hawa, be like him. when you make a mistake, apologize for your mistake. The purpose of Islamic education is to raise al-insan al-kamil. Al-insan al-kamil. Some people misunderstand al-insan kamil as if someone he does not make any mistake. No. Al-insan al-kamil is the one who may make mistakes but humbly accept his mistakes and apologize for it and try to make up for it. That's al-insan kamil. Sayyidina Adam presented an example of this for us. He's al-insan kamil. So first lesson humanity was taught through life of Sayyidina Adam was when you make a mistake, accept it humbly, apologize for it and try to make up for the mistake. This very what's the opposite? Arrogance, shaitan's way. You know, don't accept your mistake, insist on your mistake, accuse the authorities, you know, and he accused Allah as if Allah didn't know what he's doing. He's saying, why do you give me this order? It is wrong. Subhanallah. Who are you to tell Allah that he is doing wrong? You know, but this is the opposite. You know, this akhlaq of shaitan. So we have a choice. Either we follow Adam alayhi salam's path or shaitan's path. You know. So as I said, akhlaq, the futuwwa is the makarim al-akhlaq, husnul khuluq, given to us from paradise. And we practice it here. Inshallah, when we go paradise, we continue with the same akhlaq. That's al-futuwwatu akhlaqu ahl al-jannah. This is what Abu Abdurrahman as-Sulami says. And if someone practices futuh in this world, I can testify that he will go to paradise. So I wrote this book to create awareness about futuwwah, to protect our new generation from getting assimilated by this postmodern culture, which is egocentric, individualistic, relativistic, and subjectivist. And I think that this Malaibar publications translated to Malayalam language, inshallah ta'ala. So this is a very simple written book with the most simple language I could ever done. I have some boring academic books, you know, very boring. You know, they are only for like gray-haired professors, but this one for you. Anyone can understand. How old are you? 7, 8. You can understand this book. This is written for you. Okay? If you don't understand, that means I made a mistake. It should have been more simple. You know, so this is for everybody to understand, because the purpose here is not to give you academic knowledge. The purpose here is transformative. You know, when you read this book, you should be transformed. You should have stronger dedication to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam. You know, the Rasulullah sallallahu declared his mission as follows: "Bu'ithtu li'utammima makarim al-akhlaq." My project is to perfect makarim al-akhlaq. So this should be our project also if you follow his sunnah. You know, this is the sunnah of Rasulullah. This is his life mission. This is how he defined his mission. You know, today when they establish an institution, they have mission statement, right? So this was the mission statement of Rasulullah ﷺ, that he wanted to perfect morality. And today we should do the same thing. But there is a difference between akhlaq and makarim al-akhlaq. Okay, who can tell me the difference between akhlaq and makarim al-akhlaq? What's the difference between akhlaq and makarim al-akhlaq? Why didn't Rasulullah ﷺ say bu'ithtu li'utammima al-akhlaq? He said bu'ithtu li'utammima makarim al-akhlaq. Why? Anyone from the mullahs studying Sharia? So makarim is plural of makrumah. Makrumah in Arabic means diyafat, feast. Something you call people to eat, something nice, and you invite people to eat. And I thought this makrumah is an old Arabic word, classical, but in Qatar, I saw that they are using for feast, makrumah, still using it. I was so surprised when I saw this. So makarim is something excellent, excellence, the highest level, the best. So there is akhlaq and makarim al-akhlaq. So akhlaq is based on reciprocity, mubadala, muqabala, exchange. But makarim al-akhlaq is based on ithar. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Ithar, giving priority to the other. Giving priority to the other. So these two different approaches to morality. And this ithar is something under attack today. I have a friend, he has a child in America, he goes to school, and every Friday he told me he sends some cakes with his child to the school. And the teacher is very upset. She sends messages, please don't send anything. And then they don't understand why. And then they send. And then eventually teacher invites them to a meeting. And in the meeting, teacher tells the parents, she says, here we are teaching individualism and protecting self-interest. When you send these cakes, your child distributes in the class, you are destroying what I am trying to teach. Subhanallah. And they say this is civilization. What is civilization? Civilization is makarim al-akhlaq. Civilization is makarim al-akhlaq. But they present civilization as if building big monuments, big stone buildings. No, that's not civilization. If building big buildings was civilization, Rasulullah would build the biggest building in the world. No, he built a small masjid, right? But he built human beings. He built human beings. That's the most important thing. So civilization is makarim al-akhlaq. And from the way they define civilization, like technology, etc., then there is no medaniyat, there is no hadara, there is no umran in Medina, because Rasulullah did not give priority to building high buildings. See what I mean? So he gave priority to makarim al-akhlaq. And for us, civilization is founded on makarim al-akhlaq. And the Western victory today is not a civilizational victory. It is not a moral victory. It is not an intellectual victory. It's only a military victory. But they teach us that your civilization declined. Your civilization declined. No, our civilization did not decline. And today, this decline paradigm is rejected. If we protect makarim al-akhlaq, we are the best. وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَا إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. There may be times we may be militarily defeated. But if we have makarim al-akhlaq, we are always the best. In Badr, we are the best. In Uhud, we are the best. In Handak, we are the best. There are ups and downs, alhamdulillah. In America, we used to go to prison to teach prisoners Islam. We called it Madrasa Yusufiya. While I was doing my PhD, I organized this voluntarily, and with students from Columbia University, we used to go to Rikers Island Hospital, prison, teach. So once I asked one of those prisoners, I said, "What's up, bro?" And he said, "Ups, alhamdulillah, downs, alhamdulillah." It was a good lesson for me. I never forget. Ups, alhamdulillah, downs, alhamdulillah. This is a lesson for us. So there are ups and downs in the history. In the history, there are ups and downs. So like we got hit by crusaders, we got hit by Mongols, but we continued our way. And recently we are hit by the colonizers. We continue our way, inshallah ta'ala, and we will be revived again. But the most important thing is to preserve makarim al-akhlaq, futuwwah. If we have futuwwah, no one can defeat us. You know, there may be some downs, some crises, but eventually we will overcome everything. So today's civilizational crisis will be overcome through itmam makarim al-akhlaq, through ihya al-futuwwah, revival of the futuwwah among ourselves. This is what Ibn Khaldun calls asabiyya, unity, strong unity. So if there is strong unity, you can do everything. Like I told my friends, I said, look, Muslims in India, they are minority. Look what they have done. There are majority countries, they cannot do something similar to this. Why? Because of the unity, because of the futuwwah, because of the ithar, you know. So Allah made this possible for you. If you could do it at this scale, you can do it at the global scale too, you know. But it requires the futuwwah that ashab had it. And this is the key of the success. This is the key of the future, inshallah ta'ala. So, futuwwah is synonymous with adab, with husnul khuluq, with makarim al-akhlaq, derived from the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. You know, we practice futuwwah because it's ibadah. It's ibadah. You know, so here in this book, I summarized everything in 40 principles, and this book is an explanation of the 40 principles you have here. So, and sometimes, like we distribute like this, and the people put it on the wall, and then sometimes they make a big print of this, they put it on the wall of their madrasa, school, so that students, when they enter, they see these 40 principles, you know. So Islamic education is not based only on academic education. It's not based only on professional education, but moral education as well. You know, because Rasulullah pedagogy was based on two things. يعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة ويزكيهم. تعليم and تزكية. تعليم and تزكية. So Islamic pedagogy is based on these two methods, ta'lim and tazkiyah. So Rasulullah educated Sahaba like this, and Sahaba educated Tabi'in like that. Tabi'in was educated like this until we came to modern era. In modern era, only ta'lim, no tazkiyah. It's abundant. But if you don't have tazkiyah, this spiritual, moral aspect in a human being, that human being will not be successful, will not be happy in the future. So the two must be combined in Islamic education. So Futuwwah combines the tazkiyah part. You know, you get your academic education, professional education, and then the tazkiyah part, moral education part, inshallah ta'ala. So these 40 principles, this is an updated version of what Abu Abdurrahman Sulami wrote in his Kitab al-Futuwwah. So Sulami, he's a great scholar. He has multi-volume books. But he wrote Kitab al-Futuwwah very short and very easy to understand, so that young people can read it and put it in practice. It's applied ethics. Applied ethics. So I followed his style when I wrote this book. The most simple language, so that everyone can understand and can everyone put in practice. So Alhamdulillah, it resonated very well. You know, people read it everywhere. It's on the beach, on the train, and everywhere. Alhamdulillah. So the goal is to transform, you know, people's akhlaq, you know, and bring them closer to the Sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam. And after Abu Abdurrahman as-Sulami, many other people wrote on Futuwwah, but Abu Abdurrahman as-Sulami wrote his book 1,000 years ago. So this is not something I am inventing. It's rooted. It's rooted in the legacy of messengers of Allah. It's rooted in the legacy of Rasulullah ﷺ and Ashab, and in the long history of Islam. As I said, all messengers are role models of Futuwwah. So in the Futuwwah books, they say, as I mentioned, be like Adam. When you make a mistake, apologize for it. Be like Nuh. Keep teaching Islam with patience, even if there is no acceptance. Be like Sayyidina Ibrahim. Stand for the righteousness, even if you are tested with fire. Be like Sayyidina Musa. Say truth, even to the big powers. Be like Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. He combined all makarim al-akhlaq. What's given to Rasulullah is the total sum of everything given to all messengers of Allah before him. Messengers of Allah before him, they are given something. But Allah gave him everything He gave to Anbiya before him. So his beauty was better than Yusuf alayhi salam. And his rahmah was more than Isa alayhi salam. His courage was more than Musa alayhi salam. So all the virtues scattered, given to other messengers, he was given the total of it. And the Quran is the summary of all sacred books before him. And his sunnah is the total sum of all ethics from him. That's why هذا يونينا من الأديان القديمة. This puts us above all previous religions. And we have nothing to learn from them because they are already given to us in the best way possible. And the first person who established an organization around Futuwwah is Khalifa and Nasr Billah. This Abbasid Khalifa, he established a youth organization, called it Fityan, and he appointed himself as Ra'isul Fityan. Khalifa is Ra'isul Fityan, putting the Futuwwah in practice. And he appointed to every city one Ra'isul Fityan min al-ulama, for every city, to make sure like all the young people, they get good akhlaq education. And he asked the biggest alim of his time, Ibn Mi'mar al-Hanbali in Baghdad, to write a manual for Futuwwah. And Ibn Mi'mar wrote Kitab al-Futuwwah. This is a manual, like how you enter Futuwwah, how you make Futuwwah pledge, what are the rules of the Futuwwah, and what happens to people who make a mistake, etc. How they should be educated, how they should be taught adab. That's the manual. So this became like their constitution. So this continued until Abbasid collapsed. And later Selçukis, they inherited this from Abbasids. And they developed further. So they established two organizations. One is called Akhiyan. Akhiyan Rum. Akhiyan comes from Akha. You Akhi, Mu'akhat, Ikha, min أي باب؟ باب المفاعلة وبناؤه للمشاركة. أليس كذلك؟ So للمشاركة يعني so mutual أخوة, fraternity. So fraternity, so they call it Akhiyan Rum. Rum means people who live Anatolia, in the lands conquered from Romans. So like we have Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi. Rumi means from Anatolia. So I am Rumi, coming from Istanbul, because Istanbul was the capital of Rum, right? So, anyway, and then they established another organization for ladies. They called it Bajiyan Rum. What's Baji? Sister, right? From Persian. Bajiyan means sisters. Because Elif Nun in Persian for plural. Bajiyan Rum, like sisters of Roman lands. So they established two organizations. And this continued until the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. And after Ottoman Empire collapsed, then we got westernized, abandoned everything. They tried to delete our memory, make us forget everything from the past, and try to install in our brain their materialistic, secularist ethics, trying to teach us put yourself first, because it serves your interest. But Futuwwa is based on put others first, not yourself first, put others first. This is called altruism. Altruism means giving priority to others, not to yourself. Like a father gives priority to children. Children gives priority to the father. Wife gives priority to the husband. Husband gives priority to the wife. But this is not out of stupidity, because they present it, you are stupid if you give priority to others. You have to protect your own interest. But if husband give priority to himself, puts himself first, then the wife will put herself first, children will put themselves first, then there is no family. If friends put themselves first, then there is no friendship, there is no neighborhood, there is no community. See what I mean? So when you put yourself first, you are doing the worst disservice to yourself. You are undermining your self-interest. Your interest is best served when you give priority to others. I call this happiness paradox. Happiness paradox. If you are ready to sacrifice your happiness to make other people happy, they become happy and you become happy. But if you are egocentric, you want everybody to make you happy, neither you are happy nor are they happy. Both are miserable. So Futuwwa teaches us to be happy by making other people happy, and this is the best way of serving your interests. Today in UK, they have a ministry called Ministry of Loneliness. When I heard it for the first time, I was shocked. I thought this is like a lie or something like this, misinformation. I checked, true. There is Ministry of Loneliness. Why? Because people put themselves first, they are egocentric, and nobody is there to help them. When they are sick, when they are old, when they need something, there is nobody to help them. They have to call government to come and help them. Let's say you are sick, you are in the bed, you need to buy some bread or milk. Nobody you can call, oh, please bring me some bread or milk. You have to call the government agency to come and help you. So this is what individualism led us at the end. So now we have to take measures so that we don't follow their footsteps by reviving Futuh ethics, inshallah ta'ala. And another anecdote from UK, I have a friend, he's a professor of economics in a respected university, that called him to a court. Why? Because there was a Pakistani, he bought a home and paid £100,000 cash. And the police got alarmed. What's this guy doing? Where did he get this money? Like money laundering, or he stole the money, or doing something illegal. And they questioned the man. He said, I saved some money. I got some from my relatives and some from members of the community, from Jamaat, from congregation. They could not believe. How can you get loan that much? And he invited my professor of economics friend. They asked him, is it possible for a Muslim to borrow this amount of money from his friend to buy home? And he said, this is what we always do. They could not believe, because they want a society fragmented, individualistic, so that they go to bank. They borrow money with interest. Okay? So this is called in sociology social capital. Social capital, when you help others, they help you. But those capitalists, they don't want this. You don't help any other people, and when you need something, you go to the bank. Social capital means how many people can loan you money? How many people come to visit you when you are sick? How many people will come to your help when you need something? That's social capital. So social capital can generate financial capital. See what I mean? The way they present individualism, egocentrism, that it will make you happier, it will make you successful, completely false, completely wrong. What will make you strong, successful, and happy is giving priority to other people, practicing altruism and isar. This is what will make you happier, inshallah ta'ala. And if we have such a society, our society will be very strong, very strong. One for all for one. One for all for one. That's Futuwwa. That's isar. We work for each other. So I think my time is up. Let me read the first principle here and then conclude. So the first principle here, see everyone as your brothers and sisters and treat them accordingly. See everyone as your brothers and sisters, regardless of their religion, regardless of their wealth, regardless of their nationality. Everyone as brothers and sisters. But this brotherhood and sisterhood has levels. So one level of it is ukhuwa fil Muhammadiyya, that we as Muslims, we are brothers and sisters of each other. That's one level of ukhuwa al-Muhammadiyya. And then there's hukuk al-ukhuwa. According to Islam, we have duties and responsibilities towards each other. And then ukhuwa fil Ibrahimiyya, our brotherhood, our fraternity with Christians and Jews, Ahl Kitab. Then we have ukhuwa fil Adamiyya. Ukhuwa fil Adamiyya. We are all children of Adam alayhi salam. So this ukhuwa in al-Adamiyya. And similar to the way we have rights and duties in ukhuwa Muhammadiyya and ukhuwa Ibrahimiyya, we have rights and duties in ukhuwa Adamiyya. This is a universal human fraternity. And this ukhuwa fil Adamiyya is very important in India. Because here you don't have Ahl Kitab. You have Hindus and Buddhists. So you need to know Al-Adamiyya. Inshallah, my next book will be on the concept of Adamiyya in fiqh. Our fiqh is grounded on the concept of Adamiyya. Yani hukuk al-Adamiyyin. Sharia, fiqh teaches hukuk al-Adamiyyin. Not hukuk al-Muslimin faqat. Not hukuk Ahl Kitab faqat. But hukuk al-Adamiyyin. This is a universal law. Rights and duties of all human beings. And our ethics, our morality, Futuwwa also is grounded on al-Adamiyya. So we don't make any distinction because of this. And I recently supervised one PhD thesis on the status of non-Ahl Kitab, non-Muslims under Islam. Because non-Ahl Kitab, non-Muslims, they make the majority of humanity today. Like we have 2 billion Muslims and then maybe 2 billion Christians, and then the rest, they are non-Ahl Kitab. So what's their status under Islam? So this PhD thesis searched this and demonstrated that we give the same rights to non-Ahl Kitab we give to Ahl Kitab. And the best example of this is India. Like here, we coexist with the Buddhists and Hindus. We gave them same rights. Al-Isma bil-Adamiyya. Inviolability is due for humanity. And the same way in Iran, there are Majus, Zoroastrians. We gave them the same rights. سنوهم سنة أهل الكتاب إلا آكلي ذبائحهم وناكي نسائهم. So we treat the same way. This in our Sharia. Our Sharia is global. Our Sharia is not only for Muslims. Our Sharia for Nizamul Alam, to bring a global order based on justice, equality, freedom for everybody. And also Al-Wathaniyun, people who worship idols. We gave them same rights. We don't care about the content of their religion. We care, okay, you are Adami, okay, you are respected by Muslims. So this treat everybody as your brother and sister and treat them accordingly. That means fulfill hukukul ukhuwa. So here you have law school. Is in the law school law of brotherhood taught or not? Hukukul ukhuwa. Or in Sharia, do they teach you hukukul ukhuwa? So, okay, we need to introduce in our education hukukul ukhuwa at 3 levels. Hukukul ukhuwa al-Muhammadiyya, hukukul ukhuwa al-Ibrahimiyya, hukukul ukhuwa al-Adamiyya, inshallah. So that should be our next project. You know, but Futuwwa already includes this at 3 levels. We treat everybody as our brothers and sisters without making any distinction among themselves. And we do this for the sake of Allah. We do this because it is the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. We do this because we will be rewarded for it by Allah Ta'ala. And lastly, let me mention the symbol of Futuwwa. You see this pin, this 8-corner star. And this 8-corner star, probably you see it everywhere in Islamic architecture. Everywhere. They make water ponds, 8-corner, and on the walls 8-corner star. Everywhere 8-corner star. Why? What's the symbolism of it? Because this 8-corner star is Najmul Futuwwa. Najmul Futuwwa. It is designed by Selçukis for the first time. But at the same time, it is called Najmul Jannah, Khatmul Jannah, Khatmul Jannah. Yani because paradise had 8 gates. Paradise has 8 gates. So this number 8 comes from symbolism of paradise. So that means if you practice this Futuwwa, you go to paradise from any door you want. Because Makarim al-Akhlaq is the key to paradise. Futuwwa is the key to paradise. You want the key to paradise? Okay, the key is here, Futuwwa. Practice it, you will go to paradise. And there is an hadith, Rasulullah said, people reach with their good morality to higher levels other people cannot reach because of their ibadat. So, this 8-corner star is used as symbol of Futuwwa and paradise. It's everywhere in Islamic architecture to remind you, practice Sunnah ethics, practice Ithar, you go to paradise. That's the symbolism of it. And also this 8-corner star is a combination of 2 squares. 2 squares. When you put 2 squares on top of each other, you have 8-corner star. So that means dunya and akhirah united. One square dunya, the other square akhirah. The 2 are united. That's maratib al-wujud, the multiple levels of reality united. Because there is no distinction in Islam between dunya and akhirah. Ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah. Dunya is the farm of the akhirah. You plant in this world, you collect the fruits in the akhirah. So we are planting for the akhirah. There is like so much symbolism involved in this Najmul Futuwwa star. This is the symbolism of it. So inshallah, my time is up. I stop here. And if you have any questions, we can continue with them. We have another session, inshallah. We continue in more detail about this. Jazakumullah khairan. Okay, any questions?
We'll take one or two questions.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
The 8 corners, how we know that what is the corners will be?
I couldn't understand.
Stars, 8 corner stars. Star corner. Yeah, the 8 corners.
Yes.
The star. What is meaning that?
Okay. So every corner represents one value of Futuwwa, like justice, compassion, sabr, marhamat, and also keeping the privacy of other people, like no tajassus, no ghibat. So every corner represents one value. So in our madrasas, traditionally, they make a water pond, 8 corner star, representing the Futuwwa. Each corner represents one value of Futuwwa. At Ibn Khaldun University campus, we also made the 8 corner water pond, and we wrote the values, because new generation don't know. They don't know. So we wrote all the values: sabr, marhamat, adalat, keeping the privacy, etc. So each corner represents one value of the Futuwwa. This is very common in Turkish culture. If you write Futuwwa star, you get a lot of pictures, different designs of it, with like all the values written around it. I'm sorry? Oh yes, yeah, see, it's also there. Yeah, it's also there. Yes, so you already have the Khatmul Jannah and Futuwwa star, so this is the symbol of paradise. That means if you work for the Suhbah, if you work for Indian Grand Masjid, if you work for Markaz, you go to paradise. That's the symbolism of it, because but as I said, like we use it without knowing its meaning. It says a deep meaning. That's Khatmul Jannah and Najmul Futuwwa is already there. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. So you don't need to make a new pin for Futuwwa. You already have the Futuwwa pin. Alhamdulillah. You see how our cultures are united, but we are not aware of it. This is what I am trying to do, create awareness. Because if you continue like this, new generations will think, what is this useless? They will not know the meaning. But if you create an awareness, they understand the meaning and appreciate and preserve and protect it. So that's our purpose, inshallah ta'ala. I am so happy to notice this, mashallah. And actually, it's like everywhere in our art and architecture. It is to remind you the paradise. This is our ultimate destination. This is what we should work for. And what's the way for it? Practice makarim al-akhlaq, practice husnul khuluq. That's it. The paradise is very cheap. If you want to buy one home, how much you need to work? But just be good man, practice akhlaq, Allah will give you paradise, eternal, and this is the reminder for it. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
Yeah, you said tradition, it's not to keep the ashes, but to keep the fire. Can you elaborate more on this or give an example?
Yes.
Because there's this discussion when they change the script of Turkish from Arabic to Latin. So is it important to revive the culture or go back to the primary sources?
No, forget Turkey. Let's talk about India.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Look, I visited some shrines in India. Nothing going on around those shrines. They are trying to keep the ashes. But here, I see the fire going on. You know, so that's real traditionalism. That's real traditionalism. You know, so like you are maintaining the tradition of the ulama who are buried in those shrines by, you know, transmitting their knowledge to future generations. So this is better way of showing respect to those ulama, to those awliya. You know, the respect is not just, you know, keeping their grave in a nice way. See what I mean? The best way of showing respect to them and honoring their heritage is to revive their ideas and spread it and transmit it to the future generations. So this is the best way of serving to those awliya, to those ulama. So that's keeping fire. So in Markaz, fire is kept. But in those places, they are trying to keep the ashes. You know, so keeping the fire means maintaining the silsila, maintaining the silsila al-ilmiya, al-silsila al-amaliya, al-silsila al-akhlaqiyya, silsilatul futuwwa. You know, if we maintain this, that means we are keeping the fire on, we are keeping the light on. You know, so, and we should do our best. Because Islam is a living civilization. But the Orientalists, they teach us as if Islam is a dead civilization. They say Islamic civilization declined, you know, inhitat. I say no, Islamic civilization did not decline because sanad continues. Ma fi inqita' fi sanad. This shows that Islamic civilization is alive. So I read an article titled Decline of Decline Paradigm, Rejecting Decline Story, because this decline story is invented by Orientalists and they imposed it on us. That, oh, your civilization declined, your ancestors did not do a good job, you know. So this is taught in our education system, but this takes away pride from Muslims. This takes away self-confidence. You know, so this is their project, you know, stealing self-confidence and pride from Muslims, make them feel inferior. So I wrote this article, Decline of Decline Paradigm, and it's translated to Arabic. Some Arab scholars, they translated. This is the translation of it. Inhitatu tuhmati bil inhitat. This is the title they used. انحطاط التهمة بالانحطاط التقييم الزمني للتاريخ الإسلامي. So they say there is golden age in Islamic civilization and then dark age. I say no, always golden age. وأنتم الأعلون إن كنتم مؤمنين. We have some crisis, we have some military defeat. Like if you have Uhud, you cannot say Islam declined. You know, victory is part of our history, defeat is also part of our history. So in the First World War, Ottomans were declined and Germans were declined. Why didn't Germans produce a decline narrative? Why didn't they say German civilization declined, Germans were lazy, there is dark age in German history? No? But Orientalists came up with this periodization of history, saying, you know, there is golden age and then there is dark age. And golden age ends with Imam Ghazali. Imam Ghazali brought darkness. Look at this. Why? He's Sufi. You know, why? Because he rejected Greek philosophy. Be careful. You know, after that, all dark ages. I say, this is stupid. How come dark age? After Ghazali, you know, still intellectual production, academic production continued. And I proposed our dear brother Nureddin, you know, to make a series of conferences or symposiums about the academic production of ulama in India. Because they used to say the same thing in Turkey. They were saying Ottomans declined, they did not do anything, And then I organized a series of conferences every year focusing on one ilm, like Ottoman fiqh, what Ottoman ulama produced in fiqh, Ottoman hadith, what Ottoman ulama produced in hadith, Ottoman ilmi kalam, Ottoman munazara, Ottoman mantiq, Ottoman philosophy. And the last thing was Ottoman tabi'iyat. You know, like we bring people from all over the world who specialize in that, and then make it like a book showing that intellectual production, academic production never stopped, always continued. And I propose this, that Markaz also does the same thing, to show that this intellectual production, academic production by ulama of Hind never stopped. It continued. Even today, you have many great scholars producing a lot of works. Where is decline? You know, but there is like some military victory of the West, and then some economic problems. This does not mean civilizational decline. You know, and I proposed to our dear brother Nuruddin to make encyclopedia of the contributions of Indian ulama to ulum Islamiyya, or there may be a better name for it. So this will give first rootedness to your students. When the students see, wow, we have a lot of ulama in our chain, in our senate, they will feel proud. Second, they will take them as role models. Oh, these ulama, they did all these things, and I am their grandchild. I have to do the same thing because I am in their senate. Okay? So this will give pride and self-confidence. But the opposite is, oh, we declined, you know, because our ancestors, they were lazy, they did not do good job, they made a dark age. See what I mean? So we should reject this. And even the Orientalists recently started rejecting this. The first one who rejected this decline, Marshall Hudson. He has a 3 volumes book, Venture of Islam, published by Chicago University Press. There he says, when you look at the 17th century, you see 3 great empires of the world. Baburi Empire, which you call Mughal, we call Baburiyun. And then Safavids, and then the Ottomans. 3 great empires, they are Muslims. How can you say it is declining? You have like 3 great empires, they are all Muslim, and then you say decline. Where is decline? You know, so he says there is no decline in 17th century. And then later, Khalid Ru'ayhib, another scholar from Harvard University, he studies 17th century. He said there is no decline in 17th century. And there is Ahmad Dalal, another professor from Georgetown. He wrote another book, Islam Before West. He demonstrated that there is no decline in 18th century. There's Peter Adamson. You know, he says 19th century, the most active intellectual century in the history of Islam. 19th century. Ulama, they were reacting to the West and producing a lot of works because this westernization and attack by colonizers brought a new energy to our ulama. They produced a lot of works. He said there is no decline in the 19th century. So we need to change this narrative again, inshallah ta'ala. Rather than saying ماذا خسر العالم بانحطاط الحضارة الإسلامية, we should write a new book. ماذا سيكسب العالم بإحياء الإسلام ونشره في العالم. You know, what will the world gain? What will the Japanese, the Chinese, the Hindus, the Russians, the Americans, the Europeans can gain if Islam is rising again? Because today, statistically speaking, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. You know, but not because of our efforts. You know, because Allah gives them hidayah, they come to Islam by themselves, you know. So I was talking to Brother Omar Sulaiman and also Sheikh Yahya Rodos. They told me that last year, after the Palestine events, the number of people was like record in America coming to Islam by themselves. Because they are so impressed by the resilience Muslims showed. They are coming to Islam by themselves, you know, converting. So this is from Allah Ta'ala, you know, So you should be ready to lead this tide. So like people are all over the world coming to Islam. Islam is the fastest growing religion, and we say, oh, we live in dark age, we declined, we are not good, we are bad. Look, those people, they are discovering beauty of Islam and coming to Islam, and you still remain like hopeless. This is not good. We have to have a new energy, a new dynamism, and act in a proactive way. Inshallah ta'ala, clean our home for the guests coming from all over the world, and abandon all these detailed discussions among ourselves, unite to lead humanity again. And like we brought justice to humanity, we brought justice to Africa, Arab world, Byzantium, India in the past, and we can do it again, inshallah ta'ala. That's our promise to humanity, and this is what the world can gain with the rise of Islam. Not terrorism, not anything else, because the enemies of Islam, they say rise of Islam is a big problem. Let's try to stop it. But we should explain that rise of Islam is not a problem. It's good for the humanity. Why? Because we have Futuwwa. We'll make no distinction. We'll serve everybody, regardless of their religion. We'll take care of not only human beings, but the environment also. But we need to explain this rather than backward looking. Let's have forward looking for the future. Let's have foresight for the future. Dirasat istishrafiyya, future studies, inshallah ta'ala. What's our vision for future, inshallah?